All right, so let's talk about how to lose fat after cancer. Now, it's very difficult to lose fat after cancer and get back to your pre-cancer weight, or maybe even a healthier weight, or your desired leanness, or physical aesthetic that you want. The reason being is because while some people lose weight and others gain weight, everyone sees muscle loss. So the standard advice of just eat less doesn't apply to you. In fact, many people eat less and they still gain weight. Reason being is because cancer treatment has caused so much muscle loss that the calorie burning machine that you have, which is muscle, is not working to its fullest capacity, right? So it's like having an engine that doesn't really work right now, right? Your engine, your fat burning machine, is not to the fullest capacity because you've lost so much muscle. And whether you've gained weight or lost weight, muscle loss happens to nearly every cancer survivor. So the most important thing when it comes to fat loss is actually focusing on muscle gain. That's the very first part. You want to prioritize muscle gain. The second thing is you do want to eat less, but not eat less volume of food, so like quantities. You want to eat less calories. Now, you can eat less calories by eating less, but you can also eat less calories by eating more foods with lower qualities, or sorry, calories. So it's very important for you to decide what it is that you want to do. And what I mean by that is, what are the foods that you actually enjoy, and being able to look at those foods and say, is this a high calorie food or is this a low calorie food? So, what are low calorie foods? Fruits, vegetables. Those are low calorie foods. What are high calorie foods? Desserts, cookies, chips, pizza. All of those are high calorie foods. So, you want to make sure you eat less of the high calorie foods and eat more of the low calorie foods. So, for example, if you have a large pizza, that can be nearly 500 calories depending on the size of the pizza. Well, you got to eat a lot of spinach to get up to 500 calories, right? So you can eat more spinach, for example. You don't have to choose spinach, right? If you like asparagus or Brussels sprouts or whatever it is, fill in the vegetable that you enjoy and eating more of those throughout the day. You're going to naturally eat more, but have less calories. Now, the second thing you want to focus on is eating more protein. And I know everyone talks about eat more protein, eat more protein. You really need to have anywhere between 70 to 120 grams of protein in your day. Now, that's very different than what you hear on the internet because I'm giving you practical advice. If you are trying to maximize protein and become a bodybuilder, I would give you different advice. But when you're just learning, shoot for 70. Work your way up to 100, maximum 120 grams of protein per day. Does that mean that you can't eat more than 120? No. I'm giving you a practical range to shoot for that you can feel confident with and that you can learn how to do it. Okay? Because when you first start, you're going to realize you're not eating that much protein. And if I tell you 200 grams of protein, you're going to get discouraged and be like, screw this. This whole protein thing sucks. I'm never going to eat that many grams. Forget it. So 70 to 120, that's a good range. And we can learn to do that by eating some high protein foods. Chicken, fish, steak, pork, ground beef, tofu, tempeh, beans also have protein. All those are great sources of protein. Another way to cheat and eat a little bit more protein is by getting protein pastas, high protein flatbreads, or high protein breads. All those can help you add a little bit more protein. Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, all great sources of protein as well. Now, you also want to add fiber. Protein helps build the muscle that we talked about you've lost. But if you only eat more protein and you don't lift weights, you're not doing anything for your muscle. You might be maintaining muscle, but you're not building muscle. So you have to eat more protein and lift weights. If you can't eat enough protein, but you can lift weights, you're still going to build muscle. Eating enough protein is the cherry on top to building muscle, but you cannot build muscle without lifting weights. So you have to lift weights. Now, the third thing you're going to need, like I said, is going to be fiber. Fiber is extremely important because it's going to help you feel full longer. Fruits, vegetables, legumes all have fibers. Nuts and seeds as well. So think walnuts, peanuts, the beans, anything like that. It's going to have more amount of fiber in them. Okay. So we talked about low calorie foods, high protein foods, getting enough fiber. Now, when it comes to strength training or to building muscle, you have to add weight. Now, you have to do two things. Number one, you want to repeat that same exercise 2 to 3 times a week, or the same muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. Number two, you need to increase the weight over time. If you're only doing 2 pounds for the next 10 years, you're never going to build muscle. If you're only doing 10 body weight squats, you're not going to build muscle. You have to add weight. How much weight? About 2 pounds once you can control the weight for 10 repetitions 2 times in a row. So if I did 10 repetitions with 5 pounds, for example, for 2 sets, the next week I do it again and I can do that comfortably, then it's time to increase the weight until I can do 10 reps with that weight comfortably 2 weeks in a row. Okay? That's called progressive overload. So you can have progressive overload in many ways and different paths to do that. For example, you can do more weight, you can do more reps, you can do more sets, but generally adding more weight is a safe bet. Okay. Now, you also want to make sure you're doing full ranges of motion. A lot of times I just see little short ranges of motion, all the way down, all the way up. Get that full muscle engaged with your repetitions. Now, caveat, if you have aches and pains doing full range of motions, then just work within the ranges of motion that feel comfortable for your body. But if you have no aches and pains, I better see a full squat. Better see a full range of motion on your exercises. Okay? And following that trend where you're repeating the muscle groups 2 to 3 times a week, adding more weight over time, and slowly increasing the ranges of motion or perfecting your technique or adding another rep or set is what's going to help build the muscle over time. So the key to fat loss after cancer is, number one, lifting weights so that you can build muscle, eating protein, and eating in a calorie deficit. But eating in a calorie deficit doesn't mean you eat less foods. It means you eat more low-calorie foods. Okay? Now, if you are wondering how in the world do I put all this together, I do have a free fat loss guide, and it's linked below in the description. So go ahead, check that out, and clicking on the link, you put your information in, you're going to get the fat loss guide straight to your email. But that's the basic foundation of losing fat after cancer. Part of the reason why it's so hard, like I said, it's because you've lost so much muscle, and that calorie burning machine is not working to the fullest potential. You want to eat less calories, build muscle, and definitely continue to move throughout the day. And that's how you lose fat after cancer.